Hey everyone, so I'm making this video because the YouTube channel has hit 100 subscribers, which is awesome. I want to thank all of you for subscribing. It really means the world to me. Uh, I started this channel about 2 years ago, literally just to put scholarship applications out to Berkeley for guitar sessions and all that stuff. And while I didn't get any scholarships for the programs, I'm now going to Berkeley as a student, and I got some scholarships from them to go there as well. So thank you guys so much for all of this, like all the support. Keeps me going every single day. Alright, so I asked you guys on my Instagram story, which is at Shawn G Guitar, if you're not already followed there, what do you want to see me do for this, 100 subscriber milestone? And I put out there, hey, let's possibly do a gear tour, because I have quite a bit of gear that I use in my music production, and a lot of you were very receptive to that, so that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to start off with my first guitar. This is the Ibanez EGEN08, which is the Herman Lee signature model guitar. This guitar was one of my first ones, like my first real ones. I'll show you my very first guitar in this as well. It's been through a lot too, but this guitar has been one of my main ones for the past 4 to 5 years, which is basically how long I've been playing. I have done no modifications to it whatsoever. It's completely stock, and I use a groove gear fret wrap on it just to get rid of any possible overtones up here. Don't know if they ever really occur beyond this locking nut, but I figured it looks cool, so I'll do it. And if it does something for it, that's even cooler. One thing I do want to touch on about this one is that the bridge. So this is the Ibanez Edge 3 bridge, but it's actually modified. It's actually a special Herman Lee model bridge according to the manual. So you can actually go and set all the strings height just by screwing these two things. You don't have to go and adjust each and every one, which can be nice, and it can also be not so nice. But I've never ran into any problems with it yet. But it's still an awesome guitar otherwise. These pickups right here, they're all stock. Didn't do anything to those. I think these are called the Ibanez Prestige pickups. They're really good. Actually, some of the best ones I've ever heard in my life. It has 5-way pickup selector. 5 more ways because it's a coil split. Something cool about this as well. I actually have this backing plate right here. I'm going to put a picture of it up. I actually have it autographed by Alicia Vigil, which is Dragon Force's new bassist. And I was planning on getting the rest of the band to autograph it too, but which never happened because of the entire COVID-19 lockdown, canceling their entire North American tour like one weekend, which sucked, but it had to be done for the best. Alright, so the next guitar that I'm going to show off, this is one of my newest. It's very similar to the EGEN, which is why I bought it, because I love the EGEN's, thin body design and all that stuff. I just like the way the neck feels too. So I got one almost exactly like it at a local music shop. So this is a 2010 Ibanez S Series. And something cool about this one is that the bridge on it is actually kind of rare to see on an Ibanez guitar. So this is kind of similar to an Edge 0 bridge on the new ones. But I'm not sure if they have this on the Edge 0, but it's basically got a hip shot trem setter right there, and then a tension control. So I'm able to use this guitar to go to drop D. I can go to E flat standard, I can go to D standard, D flat standard, or C standard, or basically whatever I want, as long as I adjust the tension correctly. So it makes a very versatile choice for a guitar. Right now, I have all the pickups stock. I'm actually changing them out though. These pickups are they're half decent, but I'm getting the DiMarzio Sonic Ecstasies in this because I listened to them on YouTube, and they are, they're really nice. So I'm going to put them in here because this is going to be one of my main ones moving forward. I actually have this plate as well. Oh, right here. I have this plate as well, autographed by a lot of people. I got it autographed by Elise Eklund, Eden Eklund, Steve Vai. I think I got Jeff Loomis to do that one as well. A lot of people were autographed this one. I got as many on there as I could when I was at NAMM. Yeah, I also have the Groove Gear fret wrap on there too. Black one to match the guitar. Looks pretty nice. And it's also got that 5-way pickup selector, but no coil split, but it's not at the end of the world. I don't use coil split too often anyways. Alright, on to my next guitar. So this is one of my main 7 strings. Scratch that, it's my main 7 string. I only have two 7 strings total. This is my favorite one though, my main one. So this is the Sterling by Music Man JP70 guitar. And one of the selling points for me about this one is that it was cheap. It was cheap for me. I was able to get it for like $400 through Guitar Center. So that was good, because, you know, I'm broke. So what I like about this one is the fact that it has a tremolo bridge, but it's actually not a, you know, Floyd Rose. So I'm actually able to go and drop this lowest string. I can drop it from B to A. So there's a lot of music, like especially in the technical death metal scene, where you're dropping your B string down to A to get that octave right there. With a normal Floyd Rose, it would be very hard to switch to that tuning. And with this one, I can just literally do it in like 2 seconds, adjust the other strings to account the move on the bridge. I also have another Groove Gear front wrap on this. I'm going to be buying another one though, because the colors don't match too awful well. I got it for a different guitar, and I decided to move it over to this one for a lot of the videos because I use it a lot. One thing I really like about this one is the inlay has the John Petrucci signature logo, which is what I like about all the Ernie Ball, Music Man, Sterlings. They always have either this logo or the Majesty logo, and that makes it look really cool. Everything on this is also, you know, stock. I didn't do any replacing because I'm lazy. And yeah, you would have seen this one in Concrete, my cover of Concrete by Poppy. A few things I did, like original-wise, like I did some originals with this guitar. It's very versatile for like metal and everything in between. I use it for like almost anything. It's really good for like, if you're diverse. Like if you play more than one genre, it's really good for you. Okay, so I'm going to move on to my next guitar. So this one is actually not one that I play too often, for an obvious reason. Because I have it autographed by Phil Collen from Def Leppard, Joe Satriani, and John Petrucci. And I got this autographed at G3 in 2018. This is my Mitchell guitar. Don't know the model number. Oh yeah, here it is. Model number. The Mitchell HD 400. So yeah, this is one of my earlier guitars as well. I played it for like a month unautographed, and then when I went to G3, I got it autographed and like didn't touch it after that. So this got minimal playtime, but it's just like one of those guitars that you can't get rid of in your collection because you just don't play them because it's autographed. So it's kind of like, you know, kind of like a decoration, but it still plays really well, I will say. I actually was able to take this thing into Chicago and get it all clear coated, so I can still play this thing. It's just if I make a nick anywhere, it can like start peeling away. So that's kind of scared me from doing that, from playing it at all. So I just play it safe and I keep it on the wall. And also, I almost missed the thing about this. On the very back, if you look right here, you'll see what appears to be squiggles. And you might be wondering what those actually are. So basically, I was 16 and stupid, and I didn't know how to preserve this thing, you know? I'm like, how do you keep these on here? Because I still want to play this thing. So I'd asked Joe Satriani, I'm like, hey, how do you, like, how do you preserve these? Like, how do you preserve these autographs on here and still play it? Because this was like one of my main guitars at that point. And he was like, oh, here we go. So he drew these lines in the back and said, test these. Well, whenever I figured out I could take it to Chicago, I asked the guy that was doing the job, I'm like, hey, can you please preserve this? Because this is pretty cool. So he did. This is actually my only guitar with a valid, legitimate Floyd Rose. This is the Floyd Rose Special Bridge. But if I'm not careful, the springs can pop off the back. What was weird about this one is at the Guitar Center I got it at, they were having humidity issues with their store. in their guitars, this thing literally shrunk, according to the one of the people that worked there. I didn't know that when I bought it until they told me after I bought it. But yeah, one of those things makes it even cooler. Kind of one of a kind. I have a smaller version of this guitar now. Alright, so next guitar. You have never seen this one before unless you looked at my Instagram. This is a Ibanez classical guitar. I don't play classical guitar good at all. I just got it just in case I needed to ever play anything classical. And have I had to yet? Absolutely not. But I actually did use it in something I wrote. I plugged it into the amp and I put delay on it. I'm probably going to be putting it out here in the future. I gotta make my, recordings actually sound good before I can release anything. I still have the strings that came with it. I still need to change those. But yeah, this is a really nice classical guitar. Nice appearance, nice sound, even though the strings are like probably 3 years old. This guitar isn't just, a basic acoustic classical guitar. This is an acoustic electric one. So I'm able to plug into a audio interface, a PA system, whatever I want to plug into. I can do that with this, which makes it very versatile and useful. And for some reason, it also has it's either an XLR port or a MIDI port. I can't tell the difference. But it's got some weird type of port in there. And it also has a preamp on it. Not sure if they all have those on them, but it's got, basic volume, treble, bass. It has a tuner, and it has a phaser, I think. It says phase. I've tried it, and I can't really tell a huge difference, but it's still there. Alright, so this one. So this isn't a guitar at all. This is a bass. This is my 5-string Ibanez Mikro bass, because I have tiny hands, and I can't play normal bass. And I'm like, hey, so let's just buy a short one. So what I like about this is it's literally the same exact scale as my S Series guitars. So it doesn't feel like any different to me at all in terms of playing. So I've never replaced the strings on it at all. I've had it for 2 years. I don't know if that's a bad thing in the bass world. I've also used this in a few videos. I've used it in the Pokemon X Poppy video and the Concrete video by Poppy. I'm not really a bass player, but I do it okay, I suppose. I played this in jazz band in my high school for a little while for a secondary jazz band. I played guitar in the normal jazz band, but this was my jazz bass for a little while. Basically everything on this is stock pickups. I still have the strings that came with it. It's never been set up. I did all the setup myself. And yeah, that's basically it about this bass. Alright, so here's my next guitar. You've seen this one a few times. This is my 8-string Agile guitar. So this is my only 8-string because I can't play 8-string guitar to save my life. But whenever I need it, it's normally in a Poppy video. It's always been in a Poppy video, for that matter. I used this one in the Pokemon X Poppy video, Anything But Me, and at the very end of Bite Your Teeth. That's where I first used it. Some points about this guitar. So this has a 26-inch scale length, I believe, which is why I can't really play it, because as I mentioned with my bass, I have small hands. So yeah, doing anything in first position hurts terribly. So I normally don't use this one. So basically for every guitar that you've seen so far, I use 9-gauge elixir strings. And on my 7-string that I showed you, that low B string is a 60, just because I don't like the way they do the packs for the guitar strings. I think it's dumb that they only go up to like a 52. So for this one, I have the Ernie Ball 9 gauges on here just because they had a pack that really made sense. It's 9 to 80. It's really nice. So this is a 80, so I can drop the string from F sharp down to E. So that's where I have it setting at right now. I normally play this thing in the tuning E, A, E, A, D, G, B, E. That's the normal. Sometimes I play it in standard. It just depends on what I need it for. And the pickups in this, believe it or not, I don't know if somebody changed these out, because I got it used. I don't know if somebody changed this out or if Agile started using DiMarzio pickups in it, but these are actually DiMarzio Deactivator 8s, which is, I found it to be pretty cool, because I was actually curious about it, so I pulled the pickups out of the guitar to look at them one day, and yeah, they're DiMarzios, which surprised me quite a bit. And also, if you look right here at the nut, it's also got a piece of the nut missing, because I tried doing the truss rod adjustment one day, and I somehow managed to pop the entire nut off the guitar. Don't even ask me how. I just did it. I put it on my story. I was kind of upset, and yeah, that was that. Okay, so this next one, you've never seen this one before either, I don't believe. But this one is my very first guitar. Backstory about this one. So I started playing guitar in 2015, something like that. Something old year. I'm old. Yeah, so 2015 is when I started playing guitar. I was halfway through middle school, and I wanted to play guitar just because I heard a Dragon Force. I'm like, hey, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do this thing and try to make money doing it. So that's where it all started. Yeah, so this guitar is not a brand name. This is the Best Choice Products electric guitar. And yeah, so I'm not even going to bother trying to do a rundown of what's in it, because I honestly have no idea. All I know is that it's a beginner guitar, and I don't use it much anymore. But I do want to note, I have fret markers on here, because nobody taught me when I first started playing guitar how to read the inlays. And yeah, so that became, I started using these numbers, and you would think, well, can't you put 2 and 2 together? The answer is no. I am very stupid. So I had to have these numbers on here for quite a while, and I just never took them off. I actually sold this guitar one time, and then I felt guilty, and after it made its way around a few other people, I got it back. And yeah, this is my very first guitar. I'm not selling it anytime soon, solely because I just can't. I'm too attached to the fact that this is my first guitar ever. Okay, so now this is my first real brand name guitar. This is my second guitar. This is an Ibanez Gio series, which the Ibanez makes really good guitars. This was a very good starter guitar for me to upgrade from that previous one, because the big upset about that one. So I find out a lot of Fender style guitars, Gibson guitars, they don't have 24 frets. Well, that was a problem because I was a beginner guitarist trying to learn Dragon Force, and you can't play Dragon Force without 24 frets. Everybody knows this. So I'm like, hey, can I get a second guitar? Because I don't have 24 frets. And they're like, sure. My parents were like, yeah, sure. So they got it for me for Christmas. So this is my second guitar, and I will be quite honest. This is a very beat up guitar. And I didn't lose the backplate. I still have that. I took it off, and it's hidden in my room somewhere. I'll find it someday. But pretty much, so you see like a bunch of chip marks, because I would carry this thing around school. And I carried every guitar around school. And they ended up taking some damage. Especially this one. Because, I don't know how to carry multiple things at this point. And so I was carrying a backpack, a guitar case, a lunchbox, and I couldn't do it. So yeah, it took some damage as a result. If you look at the neck, it has literally one fret marker left, because I played this thing so hard they all started falling off. This is the only fret that survived, because I never play the first fret. Yeah, so basically everything in this is stock. I didn't do any upgrading to it in the slightest, because I'm lazy. And currently, it's in a very out-of-tune drop C. So the string gauges on this, they're Diodario, because that's what I used to play. I put these on like a long time ago. These are Diodario, some weird 11 to 60 something. It's very weird pack. I'll put a picture of the pack up on the screen, because I know I have the pack still somewhere. Alright, so the next guitar that I'm going to show you. This is my Dean Vendetta. I've never used it in a video, but I may someday, because this thing actually does have its own purpose. So this is like a beginner model guitar, but what's nice about it is that the neck doesn't feel chunky for a beginner model guitar. It feels exactly like my S Series do, and I actually was able to get this for 80 bucks. Now, you might be asking, well, why did you buy a beginner guitar for 80 bucks? Whenever I was playing for quite a bit when I bought this. Well, the Guitar Center in question was selling it with a DiMarzio Super Distortion pickup in it. So I'm like, this guitar is easily worth more than what it's being sold for. So I got it because it has a DiMarzio Super Distortion pickup in the bridge. So basically, the way it's configured, you got the Super Distortion in the bridge, and then the stock Dean pickup in the neck. And even for stock pickups, these don't sound half bad. And I actually did replace this switch, the switch tip. I think that's what you call them, switch tips. Oh, this is a gold tip. And I got it because the black one that was on there, the black plastic one, was completely broken when I got it. I don't know who had this before, but it did not, hold up well with whoever owned it. And there's also a nice little chunk of the devil horn type idea in the headstock. I still have the piece. I have the piece because it was shipped literally in the thing broken off, which kind of sucked. But they gave me money off for that, so win-win. This is the only guitar that I have that has a two-nomatic bridge. They're pretty nice because once you have them set, they're set. But if you do a full string change and the bridge falls off, you're kind of stuck back to resetting it exactly where you want it. So that was the only hang up with this that I had. But yeah, still great guitar, very cheap. Was able to buy it for very cheap. Plays nice. Alright, so next guitar. This is my acoustic guitar. Yeah, so basically this is just a Ibanez acoustic guitar with 17, 18, 19, 21 frets. And I bought this because I needed an acoustic guitar for a Berkeley audition that I had for a 5-week program. That, and I actually wanted to play acoustic guitar just a little bit, just to learn a bit more, so I can get more diverse with it. And do I play it often? Not really, but I still have it. And I actually used it in some of my original compositions as well. And it's also an acoustic electric like the Ibanez classical guitar. So there's your input right there. Then on the side it has a preamp, tuner, bass, treble, volume. Basically standard stuff on one of these. Also, for string gauges on this, I currently have 11s, but I've been thinking about backing down to 10s. Just because they feel very, thick. I don't really like the thickness of the strings, because it hurts my fingers. So this is my last guitar. This is a Jackson JS22.7 Dinky. And I got this guitar because I got into heavier music when I was halfway through my 9th grade year. So, I wanted to play Dream Theater, Slipknot, stuff like that. So, I picked up this off of Sweetwater. This is a really, really nice guitar for doing metal with if you're on a budget. The pickups are very good for being stock. And if you swap those out even, you have a very playable studio guitar right here for 200 bucks. Not sure if they still make it though. The neck's a little thick, but other than that, if you're cool with having a thick neck and you like that, it's pretty good. Pretty good for you. And yeah, you've seen this in 2 videos. Very early videos. So you had to have been subscribed for about 2 years now to see this thing. Unless you just search my channel and watch everything, which if you do, thank you. So I'm going to move on to showing off my pedals, which there's a lot less of and won't take as much time. Alright, so I'm going to start off with this. This is probably one of my favorite pedals I own, one of my most used. This is the MXR Super Badass Distortion pedal. I was using a metal core for quite some time before I got this, which I still have and will show you. But yeah, basically this, I got it 2 years ago or a year ago after using a like onboard distortion system or a metal core, which I would not advise using a metal core. I would actually advise using bees in a tin can before using a metal core. Yeah, so basically this has a very wide range of distortion ability. So I can make it sound like classic rock, metal, whatever I want pretty much. And I can also control the bass, mids, and treble as well with it. Alright, so the next pedal that I'm going to show you is the metal core. Story behind this one, I was like, hey, I need a distortion pedal to sound, good. So I was looking through the internet. I had no idea about the stigmas of using metal cores. Nobody warned me about this. And I saw a video and it sounded half okay to my ear, which was stupid. I had a very bad ear. So I ended up buying it. And yeah, that's basically history. I used this in... Oh, it's going to pay me to say this. I used it in jazz solos. I used it for basically everything, and it was a very dumb decision. The one thing I do find it useful, though, is whenever I'm playing Master of Puppets, this gives basically the exact tone, at least to me, from what I remember, it's the exact type of tone that was on the recording. So if you want to sound exactly like Metallica in the 1980s, it can work. And it can also work as a boost, too. It's all in dialing it correctly, which I can't do, so I never use it. Alright, so the next pedal I'm going to show you is the Ibanez TS5 Tube Screamer. And this is a lower end model of the Ibanez Tube Screamer pedals. I bought this because I was doing a Green Day song, and I needed a more, vintage type of distortion on that. So, I chose this because it sounded really nice. Yes, I've only used it in the What's Their Name Green Day cover that I did for Berkeley. The rhythm only without the lead. Alright, so now I'm going to get into some interesting pedals. Some more interesting pedals at least. So this is a Ibanez Weeping Demon wah pedal. I'm not sure if they still make these. I'm totally unsure if they still make them. But I bought it used off of Guitar Center. This is actually my first pedal, believe it or not. I bought this before I even bought my distortion pedal. I'm pretty sure. So, I'm not exactly sure how it's really supposed to be used. I've only ever used it one time for a gig I did at my old elementary school. I was able to do Living on a Prayer, so I needed a wah to get that talk box type of effect. I also used a few other pedals to achieve that, but this was part of that. And I know, for at least for a period of time, not sure if he still does, but Herman Lee used this pedal, which is literally why I got it. Not going to lie. I literally got it just because, oh yeah, he has this. I'm going to use it too and sound just like Herman Lee. Yeah, well, that didn't work out like that. I actually needed to learn how to play guitar good first. And I still don't sound like Herman Lee. So, that's still something I've not achieved. Alright, so the next pedal is the DigiTech Whammy IV reissue pedal. And literally, same reason why I bought the Weeping Demon wah. I bought it because of Dragon Force and Herman Lee's guitar playing. And actually, you find this one a lot more useful than the wah. Just because the wah is like an expression pedal that only adds like a filter over it. But I can literally use this to reach any note above the normal guitar range. So, if I want to reach an octave above, all I have to do is set it to the octave above, and I can literally just whammy up to that with my foot. Which, I thought it would work like a whammy bar. It doesn't unless you have really good control. But I like to use it to, like, visit the octave above what I'm playing, like, really quickly. It's a very useful pedal for that. You just can't really keep it up there for long or play chords with it, because it will, distort and stuff like that. But if you buy the 5 has more control. I just didn't have the money for the 5, so I bought this one instead. Okay, next pedal, it looks very similar to the previous one, just smaller, but this does a different set of jobs. This is the DigiTech Drop pedal. And I bought this because I went and played at Berkeley for the, 1-week performance program, and I realized that with the Floyd Rose, I had a lot of problems playing with other people because they would play songs that were like an E flat that needed, the open E flat 5 chord. And I'm like, hey, guess what? I can't play the open E flat 5 chord. I can only play the one an octave above, which doesn't give you the heavy. So I bought this. So I'm able to drop down however low I want, down to an octave. Basically, that's the entire function of the pedal. I was able to use it at Berkeley the second time around for certain songs that were supposed to be in drop D. I just dropped it to D standard and figured out all the transposing of the notes from there. Yeah, very useful pedal. It saved my life a lot of times. So this next pedal is one of my personal favorites. This is the DigiTech Bass Synth Wah pedal. This is a bass guitar pedal that I bought for my guitar. So I am very much into Buckethead's playing in the way, you know, his music. Like, I'm really into Buckethead's music. And I got to see him live, and he does this effect that completely baffled me for the longest time. It kind of sounds like somebody's like saying the word arf. It's like a talk box type of idea. And it sounds so cool when he does it live, especially with the kill switch, which I don't have, but he does it like with multiple different combinations of other effects, and it just is a very cool effect in general. So I did some research, looked at his pedal board from other people's pictures and just with my own eyes, and I saw this thing sitting on there, and I found one on eBay and I jumped on it like immediately, and it's actually a really diverse pedal. So like you can go in, there's like 7 different types of effects. You can literally use it as an envelope filter, and it's a very unique envelope filter. It gives you like a really unique kind of sound. One place you can hear that unique type of sound is if you listen to Waiting Here by Buckethead, off of the album Enter the Chicken. At the very beginning of the song, he'll play this chord that, like, it's kind of like an arpeggiating chord, but you'll hear like something, like some wispy thing about the tone. Like, it doesn't come immediately, but like it like kind of fades in there. It's hard to describe unless you hear it, but this pedal can achieve that and a lot of the other iconic, cool Buckethead type effects. Alright, so this one I haven't used ever in a video, but it's fun to jam with. This is the TC Electronics Ditto Looper. Now, this pedal is basically just a looper. And what's cool about this is that most looper pedals have a limit of how much you can stack up onto it. Like, okay, you can stack up to like 5 layers. And for that pedal, they want like $300 or something, or $100 or something. I literally only had to pay $50 for this one, and it's got unlimited stacking, and it's also tiny. Now, only thing about this one that I kind of regret is not getting the a little bit more expensive model where you can actually save your loops onto your computer. Because if you can't really take them off of this pedal, you kind of have to have them in there. You can only have one set of loops at a time, but it's still useful nonetheless. It's a very good pedal, especially if you want to improvise with yourself. Alright, so this one is one that I bought on impulse on Black Friday one year. Hold up, I need to find a knob. I don't have my knob on this one. I don't know where it went. Alright, so this one, now that I got the knob fixed, this is the DigiTech Trio Band Creator pedal. And basically, what's cool about this, basically all you do is you play your chord progression that you want into there, and this thing will literally create a band around it, which is something I found very attractive. It's very fun for practicing your soloing, and it also has some guitar effects built into there. I got it on Black Friday for a really good price, and it's very fun to improvise with and practice improvising with. You can even write songs with it too, but I didn't try doing that since you can't really you can't do time signature changes with it. Because it will generate its own drum beat and its own bass line, and you can choose, if I want a bass that's playing with me, I can turn down this knob. Or if I want a drummer playing with me, I can turn down this knob. Yeah, and it's just a really good improvisation practice pedal. Alright, so that was the last pedal, so I'm going to move on to showing you my interfaces that I have. Alright, so right here, this is the Focusrite 4i4 Scarlett. Yeah, Focusrite Scarlett 4i4. This is my second interface, my most recent one, because when I got accepted to Berkeley, I'm like, I'm going to get a better interface, because my first one, which I'm going to show you, wasn't holding up too great. And it also had some like setbacks that I'll talk about later in the video that kind of made me want to buy a new one. But this is a really nice interface. 2 input Basically everything's controlled through the computer on the Mac. And yeah, it's basically, it's fun, it's easy to record through, fun to record through. And you can adjust how loud you want it in your monitors if you have any. I don't because I'm poor. Or in your headphones, which I do have because I'm poor. And the headphones that I'm using, just while I'm at it, I'll show you what headphones I've been using for like the longest time. These headphones are the Audio-Technica ATH-M30X headphones. They're really good beginner, not begin, well, and entry level. I would say entry level monitoring headphones and recording headphones. They sound great, and you can make good results with them. There's definitely some richer ones if you pay more money, though, but this gets the job done. Alright, so the next interface I'm going to show you, the only other interface I have, my first interface, this is the Steinberg UR242 audio interface. Now, I used this for the first few months of production. I got it when I was at Berkeley last summer. I went over to the Guitar Center over there. I got it for like $90. Pretty good price for one of these. And I started recording with it, and I used it for a long time. I used it throughout most of the Poppy era, where I was really hammering out like the Blood Money guitar solo, the Concrete cover, basically most of the covers up until I got my MacBook used this one. And what ended up happening is, first off, I thought this thing broke, and I don't even know if it's broken or not. I haven't tried using it since. I participated with the 8-Bit Big Band, if you have ever heard of them, through Adam Neely or just heard them through the grapevine or whatever. They're a really good big band, and I had the opportunity to record Lifelike from Super Mario Odyssey or Super Smash Bros. Or something like that. One of the Mario games. And I used this interface to record it. And for whatever reason, I don't know if my computer, like my desktop computer that I used to record through, if it was peaking in terms of performance or what. But for whatever reason, it put a lot of noise in the track. So I got a new one just in case that this one was broken, because I didn't want to, use a broken interface at college. So I just got a brand new one, and this is my backup. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to show you guys is my MIDI controller that I just got. So this is a Nektar LX49 Plus series MIDI controller. Now, I've never used it in a video yet because I got it like earlier this week. And I don't know how to play piano either. I'm not good at it yet, so I'm still learning how to do that. But yeah, very useful controller for writing stuff like chords and stuff like that, because that's all I really do on piano. I put pad synthesizers in my real music and all that, like my original music. And it's much easier, gonna be much easier going forward, entering chords in there and envisioning new chords. Because I make chords right now in my music with trial and error. This is going to probably change all that. But yeah, it's very nice, very affordable too, I would say. It's like $169 for one of these controllers. And it's very well made, very easy to use. 10 out of 10. You can even literally go and, so like, I'm really good at reading in the key of C, but I can't play in the key of C sharp, D, or literally any other key in the piano. So just to write things down, I can transpose them, the keys up. So this C will become C sharp if I press it once, D if I press it again, E if I press it again, or E5 if I press it again, my bad, then E if I press it again. I can do any key I want. So something I found pretty useful about it for writing chord progressions. So I don't have to know all the chords. It's a shortcut that probably a lot of piano players hate me for, but hey, I'm a beginner. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to show you guys is my amplifiers. So this has been my amplifier of choice for quite some time for at-home practice and performing in small environments, simply because it's very light to carry around and it sounds great. So this is the Peavey VYPYR VIPYR. It's got a bunch of different amp models in there. Everything's all digital, so if you bump a knob whenever you're carrying it, when it's off, no worries. It's dusty as all get out because I haven't played it in a while because I've been using my MacBook for all that. This amplifier, I used it back in my earlier videos, like whenever I did Cry Thunder like 3 different times for whatever reason. Thought that was a good idea. So yeah, I did Cry Thunder 3 separate times with this one. I used it in the Cobra's Hood cover as well. That's like when I had first got that amp too. So it probably didn't sound the best if I remember correctly. Alright, to show off the next amp, I'm gonna have to move my camera because there's no way I'm moving that thing. I'm not going to even go there with that. So here's the next amp. Alright, so this is a Peavey ValveKing 50 watts. Yeah, it's a 50 watt tube amp. And this is my first amp I ever got as a gift. And I think the tubes are kind of dead in it, because if you put too much distortion through it, it will make lots and lots of noise. So, yeah, and it's not like a noise gate thing either. It's a squeal. Like, it literally should not be doing that. Alright, so that's about it for the gear tour. Basically showed off every piece of gear that I own currently. I will definitely be growing my gear here in a couple weeks for sure. But yeah, so that's it for the gear tour. That was every piece of gear that I owned. So yeah, thank you again for 100 subscribers. I may do a Q&A video separate from this later, or I might just do a Q&A on the Instagram and just answer there. So once again, the Instagram is at Shawn G Guitar, if you haven't already followed me there. And yeah, that's basically it. Thank you so much for 100 subscribers, and I will see you guys in the next cover.